Actually, we do have great stuff to talk about this morning, and I want to get right to it. And we do have some guests here with us that's going to share a little bit too. But at the very top of our list here this morning is some things that happened in Washington, D.C. yesterday that we'll get to with regards to the Equus Bed, the ASR project, the Aquifer Storage Recharge. And then, of course, the Ark River cleanup. We call it the Cargill Ark River cleanup. But we'll talk about that great event that happens every year with some wonderful volunteers and sponsors. And then we have another parade. Politicians love parades, so we have a parade coming up that we'll talk about. Let's get to the Equus Beds. Absolutely no surprise that water should be at the top of our agenda. It's kind of critical to life in general. I mean, if you don't have water, you don't have life. And the reality is that's been something that we've been working on for quite some time to ensure that we have safe, reliable drinking water for this region for years to come. And so yesterday there was some action in Washington, D.C. that certainly our senators, and want to thank Mel Thompson from Senator Roberts' office today for being here. But some action taken yesterday, and I'm going to tell you that Senator Moran did truly some heavy lifting for us, Mel, and certainly appreciate Senator Roberts being on board and supporting that. But Senator Moran did some heavy lifting for us and ensured that we would have something in Washington, D.C. that would help us reauthorize an opportunity to get funding back for the ASR project. So what they did was they passed to extend the authorization for the Equus Bed Act for another 10 years. It was due to run out this summer. The reality is, if it ran out, there would be no other opportunity for us to collect some dollars in partnerships from our federal government for a project that's critically important. Can't stress enough. Critical step that took place yesterday that allows us to continue down the road to pursue some future partnerships that's going to be critical for that long-term water supply. So both working with Senator Moran's office and Senator Roberts' office, they immediately understood the importance of this when we met with them back in March of this year. In fact, that was at the top of their list in our meetings with them, and Senator Roberts was the same way. He recognized immediately the importance of this reauthorization. And Moran worked closely with our folks, and we have Alan King here today, and we have some other folks from that public works staff that has been involved in this project critically. But just to kind of give you some idea, the city's Equus Bed project was authorized with a 25% federal to 75% local cost share, which put a cap of $24.4 million from the federal government. To date, the project and specifically that we're talking about that received the ability to receive these federal funds is about a $98 million project. The city has received to date $4.2 million that have been handed through the Bureau of Reclamations. So you can do the math. There's considerable amount of monies left on the table, but the first step was making sure we received this reauthorization, this 10-year extension. Because without the 10-year extension, nothing else matters. And so again, the fact that Senator Moran recognized immediately the need to expedite something and get our partners there with Roberts and others on board, so critical, and can't thank them enough. We have great partnerships in Washington, D.C., and we truly feel blessed to have the representatives that we have there today. So make sure you thank our senators. Mel, we thank you for being here. Again, critically important to preserving a water supply for literally the next 50 years, the next generation. So this project, and I know most people understand this, it does a couple of things. So there's been an intrusion of some salt plumes coming down to the Equus beds for years. Part of the project literally puts up almost I'll use it in Star Wars terms, a force field to kind of block that intrusion of the salt plume coming down. And it protects the water supply, and then part of the project literally builds up that water supply so that we have water for future generations. And we could not do this just on the backs of Wichitans, so that everyone understands. We're talking about an Equus Bed aquifer that expands 900,000 acres. Certainly municipalities such as Wichita, which makes up, 76% of Sedgwick County population, Halstead, Newton, Hutchinson, McPherson, Valley Center, make up just 39% of that water use. So 55% of that water use is farmland, irrigated farmland. And so it's so critical that we have partnerships that can bring that all together in a meaningful way that provides water for all of those different uses and not just put it on the backs of Wichitans that don't have the deep pockets to do all of these improvements that will get us water for the next 50 years. So we're very appreciative. Great step forward yesterday, and that reauthorization, we look forward to what it will mean in the future of this partnership to continue to protect that water supply. Critical also to future jobs in this Wichita market, because 6% of that water supply goes directly to large industrial users. And there's no question when you look at cities around the U.S., one of those commodities that will drive future job growth is the ability to bring water to them. And so having that said and protecting that is not just about life, quality of life, future generations. It's about growing jobs too. So thank you again. Now let's talk about the Arkansas River Trash Roundup that's going to take place on Saturday, April 23rd. It is the city of Wichita will be celebrating Earth Day with the 15th annual. And thank you for coming up here. Has Cargill been a part of this for 15 years?
8 years.
8 years. I'm looking forward to Cargill being a part of this. I think you guys can bring some goodies with you that you may talk about. We want to invite you to join 900 of your closest friends in this river cleanup from 9 a.m. till noon on Saturday, April 23rd. Check-in starts at 8:30. Volunteers will be provided with T-shirts, gloves, trash bags, and a grabber or skimmer. We are going to clean up that whole river area, the banks along the river. We're going to meet at 151 North Waco. When you pick up river in the trash, you protect water quality, animals that call river home, Wichita's image, and you are improving the quality of that water that gets carried on downstream from Derby all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And so we're going to be good stewards of a resource that travels through the middle of our city thanks to our great partners. They are collecting some money through sponsorships. I'm going to put Cindy on the spot because she's a terrific spokesperson. So if you would like to share a little bit about the sponsorship and where the money goes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your kind words. So the way that our sponsorship work is we get a lot of sponsorship from many major community members and entities like Cargill, Spirit, Ducks Unlimited, and many more. So after we receive those funds, we use all the funds that we can, or if whatever is needed, to put on the event. Whatever is left over will go towards Ducks Unlimited, and that will go towards restoring a wetlands at the Great Plains Nature Center. So this year, we are hoping to reach more than 900. Last year, we had over 855, so let's make it over 900 this year. And we're also kind of upping our high school challenge. The high school with the largest percentage of participation not only will get bragging rights, we're upping it to a pizza party. So make sure to grab everybody that you can and come out and enjoy the fun. Registration starts at 8:30. There will be plenty of parking over at the Drury parking lot, at the church across the street, and also at the Gravy Center. So I hope to see everybody there. And I'll turn the stage over to Christy Tran to talk a little bit about Cargill's sponsorship.
So environmental sustainability is one of Cargill's key focus areas, and so this is our 8th consecutive year sponsoring the river cleanup, and this year we'll provide $15,000 in donations. We have employees that are heavily involved in the planning process, and we have a big group of employees that like to come out and participate as well. So we really look forward to this event. We've been lucky to watch it grow. And, like Cindy said, we're excited to welcome more than 900 volunteers this year to keep our waterways clean.
Thank you very much. That is awesome news. Thank you to our Cargill friends that are here today for making this happen. You really are helping Wichita with their quality of life in so many different ways, and so we appreciate it. I will be there. I wouldn't miss out. Plus, you feed me, right?
I'll personally deliver it to you. Yeah.
You might want to show up, Ted. Pretty good fixins. Do a little bit of work, get fed.
And a free t-shirt.
And a free t-shirt. I think they have mediums that you and I can wear. So, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to coming and joining you, and thanks for being here today to help us deliver that message, and that's going to make our community better. Want to talk about, and you guys might want to participate in this too, because everyone loves parades, right? So we are going to have a local law enforcement parade. It's a parade to support local law enforcement community, sponsored by the Fraternal Order of Police. Wichita Lodge number 5 will take place this coming Saturday. So you can be in a parade this Saturday. And as a side note, I hope that we never hear anyone complain again about there's nothing to do in this town. You can get fed, you can do some exciting things, you can be in a parade. It's going to be a lot of fun. The parade starts gathering at 10:30 right here at 500 North Main. The parade itself will start at noon. We have several of the council members that are going to be in the parade, so we would invite all of you to join us. They have chosen a Make-A-Wish kid that was chosen as the parade's grand marshal. I'm sure he is going to just have a thrill. The police department has already shared with me all of the things that they're doing for this young person, and it's going to be a neat thing to witness and come out and show support for our law enforcement that continues to do important work in our community every single day, and we want to show that we truly appreciate them. Public service sometimes can have some challenges that go with it. People can hate on electeds, but we don't want to hate on the local law enforcement that do such good work. And so at that point, we'll open up for questions.
First up, can we get those two to spell their names up in the microphone real quick?
Sure.
Cindy Lee, City of Wichita Environmental Specialist, spelled Cindyle.
Like the pause.
Yeah.
Christy Tran, Communications Specialist for Cargill. My name is spelled Cristy, and then last name is Tran.
While you're both up there, my question for you is, why again 900? What makes that so important for this one, and kind of the background with the watershed environment happening over at the Great Plains Nature Center?
900 is just an up for this year, because every year I tend to get about 100 more from the previous year, and 900 is just a mark for us to meet. But if we can meet 1,000, I'll take it, and even 2,000, hey, the more the merrier. And the watershed project, I don't know too much about it. Ducks Unlimited would be able to speak on this a little bit more. However, I do know that we always need to restore our watersheds, especially with all the urban development. And what they do is they come out there, plant, plants and greens to make sure that, ducks and wildlife can enjoy the environment just as we have.
And so in years past, do you know how much poundage of
Diana, you might want to make sure. I think it's 32.8 over the 15 or 14 years. So this will be our 15th year.
15th year doing it.
Yep.
And how many, do you measure how much you actually pick up?
Yeah. So every year, last year we got 1.8 and 1.8 tons. So over the year, we've had about 32.8 tons.
That's a lot of trash.
That is a lot of trash. I think last year we had a basketball court pulled, or a basketball hoop, the whole enchilada and being pulled out. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I think they'd rather talk to you two ladies. I'm
Well,
good
I'll let
with
you-
that.
Do you have any more questions?
Thank you all.
No? Thank you.
Thanks for coming today. Mel, again, thank you for being here today. Thank Senator Roberts for us. And again, one last time, I want to thank Senator Moran's office. I know that they're busy. They would have liked to have been here. Thank them immensely for the work that they're doing on behalf of all of the citizens in this South Central region. It's terrific. So thank you all.